So there they are, New Zealanders and Australians standing alongside each other in the stands. Today's referee, Jim Fleming, is hammering on the door of the All Blacks dressing room and inviting them to come and play. Sean Fitzpatrick leading out New Zealand, his 79th Test match. Behind him, the New Zealand team, who know that today that they have to win the match to take the Tri-Nation Series and also clinch the Bledisloe Cup Series for 1996. New Zealand coming out onto Sancorp Stadium. And there's the big fellow in place. All's well with the world. Jonah Lomu is there after injury doubts during the week. He takes his place in the New Zealand team. There's the lineup. New Zealand is actually unchanged. The team which beat South Africa 15-11 last week. There were little doubts about number 3, Olo Brown, and number 7, Josh Kronfeld, with injuries during the week, and the big doubt over number 11, Jonah Lomu. But they're all in place. Fitzpatrick is there as the captain once more, the New Zealand team for today's game. There is Michael Jones playing his 46th international in the famous colours today. Alongside him, Frank Bunce. It'll be interesting to see whether New Zealand does the haka today as John Eales brings out the Australian team. And he'll get a great welcome, this young man. He's one of the real pride of Queensland Rugby Union. There's the boys at Nudgee College who played in the curtain raiser along with Church College, two of the great rugby union schools of Queensland, giving the welcome in private to the Aussie team. And soon these people will give the big public welcome to the Wallabies as they come on to Sancorp Stadium. What a big moment for Richard Toms, who comes into the game to play his 5th test, his first since 1992. There's the Australian team. They went for an unchanged side, but they lost 2 players after the team was named. Remember, they too beat South Africa in their last match. Tim Horan, number 12, was out and replaced by Richard Toms. And in the front row, Richard Harry is number 1 in place of Dan Crowley, who broke the little toe on his right foot and can't play the game today. However, Dan Crowley is in the reserves for this afternoon's game. Big Garrick Morgan, another of the local heroes. The Brisbane Chorale, they sang the national anthems in fine, stirring fashion. And here's Zinzan Brook, who will lead the New Zealand haka. The controversy was that when the New Zealand team performed the haka in the first match between New Zealand and Australia in Wellington 3 weeks ago, the Australians ignored the New Zealand haka. And it was regarded by some as an affront to the New Zealand people. But here are the All Blacks moving up towards the halfway line. The Aussies are down on the 22, and it looks like New Zealand are going to invite the sporting challenge right on the halfway mark. Marvellous reception, of course, from the New Zealanders, but I've got to say, generally, the crowd gave it very good hearing. The New Zealand traditional challenge, the reserves for today's game. Glenn Osmond coming into the New Zealand reserves. Dan Crowley, their number 20 on the Australian side. And Tim Gavin brought back into the squad of 21, the veteran Australian. If he comes on, it'll be his 45th appearance in Australia, for Australia in a test. And having his 25th test match this afternoon. 40-year-old chartered accountant from Edinburgh in Scotland, Jim Fleming. It's a warm afternoon. Conditions are overcast, but temperatures about 22, 23 degrees. So it's a warm, muggy Queensland afternoon for the playing of this game today. Olo Brown to the left, Ian Jones to the right. It's been a very good day for Australia in sport today with the Quinella of the 1500 metre freestyle at the Olympic Games. Perkins and Kowalski and Susie O'Neill and Petria Thomas Quinella-ing the 200 metres butterfly. As the kickoff comes, Australia would like to Quinella this game. The win would keep their chances of the Tri-Nations Series alive. So they've got two things, the game today and the hopes later on in the Tri-Series. Of course, for New Zealand, there's the Quinella of a win today, clinching the Bledisloe Cup and taking the Tri-Series outright with no other points counting. New Zealand would have the championship. With me in the commentary box, Grant Fox, the former All Black.
Good start by Australia. They split the forwards at the kickoff. John Eales cleverly caught the ball and Australia drove forward. It took the All Blacks coming back to push the Wallaby forwards over the touchline.
That was a bit of a trick one from Sean Fitzpatrick. He threw it low towards the feet of one of the New Zealand players, and the Aussies have got the first ball from set piece to play with. Pat Howard out to Joe Roth, straight out to Ben Tune, the local teenager. It's claimed by Frank Bunce, across to Michael Jones. Here's New Zealand bouncing off an Aussie early mistake. The advantage being signalled by referee Fleming. Andrew Mertens. He had a rather uncertain game by his high standards at Lancaster Park, playing in the number 10 shirt. Grant Fox, you know what it's like to pull on that one and all the pressure that goes with it.
And that's a good start. Andrew didn't have one of his better games last week in Christchurch against the Springboks, playing into the breeze, the All Blacks this afternoon, and that's a good touch finder by Andrew Mertens, and that'll settle early nerves.
Brooke and Jones, the New Zealand locks, appearing for the 25th time together.
On your front man,
Against them jumping, Garrick Morgan there, and behind him John Eales, and up they go from the Aussie throw. Well claimed by the Aussie captain. Number 5 is John Eales. Number 2 to the right is Sean Fitzpatrick. And number 9 is Justin Marshall. The Aussie halfback is George Gregan.
Use it, please! Use it! Use it! Use it!
That's the voice of referee Jim Fleming.
I said use it! Shut it down, please! Black ball, let it stop!
He said use it, and under the colloquialism, it's use it or lose it. And so New Zealand will have the put in.
Wallabies signalled their intentions early. They went wide just a few moments ago, and from that line out, tried to take the All Blacks on up front.
Stay bound, stay bound!
And this is an area where the All Blacks were dominant 3 weeks ago in Wellington. Scrum time.
Back you go.
Both the All Blacks and the Wallabies had torrid battles at scrum time against the Springboks. But once again, the All Blacks will be looking for some sort of dominance in this phase of the game.
The Aussie front row today. That's Foley, Michael Foley, number 2 in the middle with the headband. On this side, here's Andrew Heath. And it's Heath against Craig Dowd. And Zinzan Brook. Whistle again. And the referee has called somebody out. Michael Foley being called out.
Don't rub your face in his face. Okay, it's against you.
And that's a bit like the start of the test match 7 days ago. The hooker being spoken to by the referee at the first scrum. A penalty came last week when John Allen put in a headbutt on Sean Fitzpatrick, and more or less the same thing has happened here today.
Well, not quite a headbutt, but Jim Fleming said, don't rub your face on his face.
I've not heard it called that before.
Well, not a headbutt, maybe a Liverpool kiss. It presented Andrew Mertens with an early opportunity.
Don't antagonise. You were talking to him.
About 36 metres out, 20 metres in from touch. Mertens kicking into a slight breeze here.
Scored all the points last week for New Zealand. Andrew Mertens. Chance to get them away to a good start today. Kicking into the wind. Well hit. Excellent goal. 4 minutes gone. New Zealand lead by 3-0.
Excellent kick, Andrew Mertens. Sweetly struck, sailing high through the goalposts. Very focused this afternoon. Seems to have the concentrations levels a little better than he did against the Springboks a week ago. Once again, the Australians have split the forward pack. Manu, Morgan out to the right, Eales out to the left.
And they kick to the left. It's taken by Zinzan Brook, and he runs into Michael Bryle, number 6.
Roll away.
Marshall, fast off the mark.
Stay
22-metre line, New Zealand territory.
Stay back.
Marshall. He can kick to touch in the full there. Here's Matthew Burke, Australia's star fullback, and he stumped an attacking kick back. He wants New Zealand to kick it out, and Mertens has it comfortably under control. And altogether, it's a better beginning. While we're talking about Quinellas, we better mention the congratulations from the New Zealand side of things to the Olympic Games scene being held across in Atlanta for the excellent Quinella, first and second place in the 3-day individual equestrian. So it's all about Quinellas this afternoon. Commentary team, Grant Fox and Keith Quinella. Marshall, Mertens, Little. This is good passing. What a tackle by Tune on Lomu. What a cheer went up from the crowd. And look at this. A tremendous... He must be sent off. Bryle must be sent off for that assault on Frank Bunce. He hit him with 10 punches, and I didn't see what started it. Michael Bryle, he's surely got to go. He must go, surely.
Well, both sides are very fizzed up this afternoon. No need for that. Touch judge Ken McCartney, who we saw a lot of last week, on the field again, but this time entirely justified.
What happened here from Bunce? It's the next part. Bunce, number 30, took a man out, so he was knocked over, and then there was just a fighting broke out.
A reversal of a penalty here. No need for that, Michael Bryle. Frank Bunce was taken out of play. Absolute nonsense. Rugby's an aggressive game, but it's controlled aggression, not silly stuff.
Well, John Hart is angry, and he's got every right to be. I think that man should have been sent from the field in disgrace. We have a responsibility in bringing the game to the big audience, and whatever happened between Bunce and knocking over and being knocked over, maybe an obstruction, has nothing to do with punching, and the man landed 10 punches at least on Frank Bunce.
He also cost his side 3 points. A kicker of Matthew Burke's calibre would surely have landed that penalty.
Makes me wonder what might be in store for this game if there are tempers bubbling under like this. Here's Lomu. Not a bad guy to bring into the action.
Here it comes. Back you go, back.
It's coming on the New Zealand side. That's the halfway line.
No, touch judge was watching.
Gronfeld.
There is it. Back number 3, Australia.
And that's against Andrew Heath.
You came all the way down, number 3.
Jim Fleming was talking to Andrew Heath, saying get on side number 3 Australia. He came round the back of the maul on the All Blacks side. That drew the penalty.
Well, John Hart was saying he felt a man should have been sent off after in the early stages of the test match last week. But just to hark back one more time to Michael Bryle's involvement with Frank Bunce there, it'll be very interesting to see what John Hart says about that one.
Frank Bunce is not the sort of guy you want to get wild anyway.
22-metre line, top left. Marshall nicely off the floor. It goes to a Zinzan-Brook tactical kick. It's going to be a penalty here for New Zealand because they took Brook out. They blocked his way. No, they did. Free kick.
Zinzan looking to bring his range of skills in there. Seeing a little hole behind the Wallaby defence. Chose to chip into it. I'm sure the tactic, though, for the All Blacks at forward time is to confront.
Should have been a penalty.
Well, he can stand in the same line. Perhaps marginal.
I don't know, Grant. He seemed to turn his back and just block him, get himself ready to block Zinzan-Brook out of it. 22-metre line there to the left. Fitzpatrick throws to an Ian Jones catch to Robin Brook. Look at Olo Brown. He's lost it, though.
All Blacks using Ian Jones a lot at line-out time again. Olo Brown on the charge, but Olo was going sideways, not going straight for. There's Jones, the tap down to Robin Brook. Olo Brown had come right around. Bryle chased him. Pat Howard not afraid to confront the big man, Olo Brown.
Good tackle by Bryle there. And now he drives off the back of this scrum. Coming for George Gregan. There's Pat Howard. He's outside the 22. Now Christian Cullen, the New Zealand fullback, has plenty of time. Swings it to Lomu. That's pretty bold stuff. And Lomu tries to get the big legs pumping. New Zealand aggressive play. Merton's got a good hop there and is playing well today.
Good skills, Andrew Mertens. The runners had overrun Justin Marshall. They'd got too flat. The forward pass was in the offing. Mertens obviously gave a quick call, picked a bad pass up well, and gained territory for the All Blacks.
Don't please, Black. Don't.
Matt Burke, 92 points in test matches this year. Missed his opportunity to kick for goal there.
An 81% success rate so far this season.
Last time Matt Burke kicked for goal in this city, he got 11 out of 13. Well, Bryle is certainly in the play. Gregan. David Campese puts a very high one to Cullen. And look how they're getting back to support Cullen. Takes it well. Now here's Marshall with the ball. Bit of an overlap here. Walter Little cuts inside, loses it forward. Taken by Rock. Campese. Lomu gets him down. Tune. Well done, Tune. The chase between Marshall and Tune. And Marshall gets it down. Lovely play by the youngest man on the field, number 14, Ben Tune. The local boys come right through the Queensland system. 2 years ago, he was the Queensland Colt of the Year. Joe Roth, number 13. It's 3-0, New Zealand lead. Zinzanbrook, an excellent kick off the left foot. That's a beauty from Zinzanbrook.
How skillful is Zinzanbrook. Back and cover defence, he read it well. There's the situation where Campo had come from the left wing, held by Lomu. This kid Tune's a good player. Lots of speed. The chip kick option, Justin Marshall showed his speed against the Wallabies 3 weeks ago and scoring that try. Back and cover defence to save the All Blacks.
Halfway line to the left. Foley. Beautiful work by Zinzanbrook. Straight to Mertens, who decides to have a go. Michael Jones with him, number 6. Again, lost by New Zealand. That's the 3rd time today. It could be a try for Australia here. Tune. Ben Tune. Gregan. A beautiful try for George Gregan. This is his first test against New Zealand since Sydney 1994, when he made the famous tackle in the right-hand corner to save the game.
Well, this had come from a turnover from the All Blacks. The forward replay shows Roth in space, Tune doing well, Gregan, lots of speed. Cullen almost nailing him in the corner, but that's a very, very good try to the Wallabies and to George Gregan.
And he smiled all the way in, George Gregan. A brilliant counter-attack. Here's how it happened. The 3rd time they've turned it over in the game so far.
Well, Andrew Mertens made the break. Michael Jones, ever present, on his shoulder, and this is where the turnover came. Bryle, I think it was, got his hands in there, fed out by Roth into space. 3-on-1 here. Lomu had no choice but to turn. Tune going inside him. Marshall there, and another All Black coming in cover defence. Unfortunately, tripped over his own player. But Gregan, lots of pace, over in the corner.
Matt Burke from wide out. And that is a difficult one. It's away, but we've seen a brilliant opening try in the game by George Gregan. And after 12 minutes, Australia lead by 5-3. Sancorp Stadium in Brisbane. The crowd is really humming. The Australians here, it's their home game, remember. Humming early in the day. The whole nation came to a stop to watch the 1,500-metre freestyle at the Olympic Games. Their great hopes, Kowalski and Perkins, and they nailed that one, 1st and 2nd. And it put the crowd here in a high old humour, and that'll be helped by the try by Gregan. But remember, New Zealand unbeaten this year. And New Zealand beat Australia 43-6 3 weeks ago. Walter Little. And here's another turnover for the Australians from the New Zealand possession. And Howard decides to go. Walter Little gets him. Player still on the ground from the previous tackle there. And Burke.
Pressure on Burke there. Ian Jones coming through applying pressure, and Burke not able to get away. As good a kick as he would have liked, but that's the 4th time in this match the All Blacks have turned over possession. They will not be happy about that. The Wallabies have scored 1 try off it. They can't afford to do that much more this afternoon, or more points will come.
Well, there's the New Zealanders changing position in the line-out, which the other Scottish referee, McCartney, did not allow in the test last week. Referee Jim Fleming is marching them back to the line-up for not straight.
Just wait. Hold it. Hooker's injured.
So there's an injured player. Michael Foley. You see the bandage around his elbow. He dislocated his elbow earlier in the season. And this looks like something completely different. Have a look at this tackle from George Gregan on Walter Little. Now, we recognise that tackle from the one on Jeff Wilson back in '94. We don't need reminding.
He's a good New Zealanders. He's a good defender, strong for a small man, George Gregan is.
Not bad on the attack either, Grant.
Useful speed.
Showed it a moment ago. That one was reminiscent of Justin Marshall's try at Wellington when the halfback ran to the corner. Here's Marshall. Look at Lomu in there. Right in the crunchy parts of the game, Jonah Lomu, the winger.
Straight off, prevent it coming back, goal.
And this is 40 metres out in centre field. Look for Sean Fitzpatrick to make the signal.
I don't know which number it was. A goal came over and it's coming back in the black side. And
Penalties for over the top. The All Blacks had the ball under control. Was unable to come back quickly. Here it is here. The move had gone slightly wrong here. They were looking Brook to Marshall and inside to Lomu. Not quite executed with timing. We didn't quite see it there, but the Wallabies had come over the top. Well, All Blacks ultimately got the ball back, but it was very slow.
Aussie reserves bench there. Daniel Herbert warming up. Sam Payne. They lost Tim Horan before the test match here, which was a big setback for them.
It's a good broken nose. I was talking to Tim Horan before the game. He's got a good set of shiners, and his nose is a bit larger than it was earlier in the week.
17 minutes gone. This to put New Zealand back in the lead, kicking into the wind. And New Zealand goes into the lead by 1 point. 6 points to 5.
Well, that's a big kick into the wind, 40 metres out, dead in front, but a long way into the breeze, and that went over with some carry. Downwind second half will be interesting for Andrew Mertens. Perhaps 55 metres if he gets an opportunity is on the cards. Split kick-off again. Both sides adopting it in this match.
Well taken there by Josh Kronfeld. Just having a go on his own here. Into Campo, David Campese. Marshall with Heath on him. Lomu is, again, all over the park today. There he is right over there. And another rollover for the Australians. A vital factor in the game so far is that they're securing the ball off the New Zealand players when they've had it in their hand. Very good kick by Gregan. Puts Mertens into the corner, but cool head by Mertens to Cullen.
Well read, Andrew Mertens. Dangerous kick. A kind bounce for the All Blacks. Cullen clearing safely to touch. This afternoon the Wallabies have tried to test Christian Cullen. They put a couple of high ones up early in the match, but he's been equal to the task. Shortened line out from the Wallabies. 5 men in.
Pitch to Eales. He's taken it well under quite a bit of scrutiny from Ian Jones, number 4. Richard Toms, number 12, going back. Gregan. Now Toms with it and running forward. The replacement player. Lovely run. In pass. Howard trying to find tune. Goal line there in the background. New Zealand leading 6-5. Australia attacking strongly. Lost an advantage. Marshall. And that's a very good save indeed by the New Zealand halfback, Justin Marshall.
And he's having a very good game this afternoon. He's got a high work rate, both in defence and attack. Wallabies were looking dangerous there, had an overlap on the right. The All Black defence able to slide across and eventually snuff the attack out.
Lineout's pretty even. There's Marshall.
Short line out again.
On your own man.
Manu at the front, Eels is right at the back. Ian Jones has gone down to mark him.
That's comfortable for Eels.
It's okay.
Coming up to the quarter mark in the game. Howard, here's another test for Cullen. Lomu's under it though. No, it's Cullen. Well done, Cullen. Referee says play on. A little bit of interpretation there. I think the man was charged while he was in the air. Cullen slow to get up. Pat Howard trying to find space.
Leave it, Mike, leave it. Keep forward and keep forward. Clear advantage.
Tronfeld coming away. Well done, Cronfield. Mertens. Cullen. Jeff Wilson for the first time. And blocked by Matt Burke.
Well, that would have been interesting. The All Blacks seizing the chance of the counter-attack. Burke did well to block that. Christian Cullen not calling for the mark. Perhaps room for a penalty there. He's hit in the air and you're not allowed to do that.
A little variation from how that's comfortable this time for Cullen. Well, he didn't find his touch. David Campese, the veteran, remember his last game on Australian soil, his last test match. And certainly Cullen and this man, Mertens, playing with assurance in the early stages today.
Well, the Wallaby tactics, putting the ball in the air. The All Blacks able to clean that up at this stage. Mertens another good touch finder. That's gone 35 metres on the angle.
This is the first time New Zealand's played on Lang Park. They've played in a number of other locations around Brisbane. Not far from here is Ballymore, the home of Queensland rugby, but it's ruled to be a bit small for a game of this massive interest.
Just broken.
So Garrick Morgan
Says he's broken it, mate.
And well, they're saying that he's broken his hand, and it looks like Australia may be looking for a replacement here at Sancorp. 22 minutes gone, and New Zealand leading by 6-5.
Yeah.
Back at Suncorp, it's Tim Gavin who might come into the game. Garrick Morgan is coming to the sideline with Greg Craig, who's the longest serving man on the Australian team just about. And it looks like a broken hand or injured hand, and Tim Gavin may get to come onto the field. So Australia down to 14.
No, you're on the shoulders at the back. Number 4 back.
So that's against Ian Jones. Always a great contest between Jones and Eels.
Matthew Burke may have a look at a shot at goal here. Yes, he does.
It's 55 metres out, and Tim Gavin, the veteran, coming onto the field, resuming his Test career. This is his first appearance in 1996. New Zealand reserves warming up down the tunnel. Mark Allen there, John Preston behind, and very popular figure in Australian rugby, the hard-working number 8. A useful man to bring into the game, but I imagine he'll go into lock, Grant.
I would think he'll go into lock. He's certainly tall enough to play in that position. Very, very fine rugby player, Tim Gavin. Got a big heart. Be good for the Australian cause at this stage. This kick, 53 metres and probably the angle 55, but Matthew Burke does have a slight breeze at his back.
He's given it a very good thump. And that's a fine goal indeed by Matthew Burke. Australia in the lead. 22 minutes gone.
Well, that went over with plenty to spare too. So perhaps the breeze at ground level is stronger than we can detect here in the commentary box. That would be encouraging for Andrew Mertens. He'll be licking his lips about that possibility in the second half.
So Richard Harry with Tim Gavin.
Conventional kick-off this time. All the All Black forwards lined out to the left.
So Australia leading by 8-6. One try in the game scored by the Wallabies. And Pat Howard getting away to touch. Here's a young man, his father and his grandfather played in Bledisloe Cup matches. Cyril Towers, his father, played in the Bledisloe Cup series in 1934, his grandfather. Big jump by Eels. He's having a good line-out game so far. But they say it's pretty much win the ball on your own throws these days. Bunce caught in midfield. And look at that, the ball was coming back on the Australian side, so we'll count that as another turnover of New Zealand taking it in. And they'll have another shot from here because this is even closer and in a better position than the previous goal by Matthew Burke.
The All Blacks guilty again of turning over possession. The move done perhaps a little bit too wide, away from the forward pack who had trouble getting there quickly. They weren't across the advantage line anyway. The Wallabies hit it in force, drawing the penalty. Judging on his last kick, you'd almost say, right, 3 points in the book now.
Last time he was kicking in the test in Brisbane, he got 11 out of 13. But this is the third test in Brisbane this year, and the previous one against Wales, he got 9 out of 10. Garrick Morgan looks like he's gone for good. So 20 out of 23 before this game in this city. Well hit by Burke, and that's 2 great goals. 11-6. 25 minutes gone. So Andrew Mertens restarts for New Zealand's big game on World of Sport at Sancorp Stadium in Brisbane.
The All Blacks veering their kickoffs, splitting the forward pack. Previous kickoff was a bit shorter. Mertens going for the big high lob there. The All Blacks not able to get any of them back so far.
David Wilson, Queensland captain, down there at the back. Bomber Wilson, they call him up in these parts. Robin Brook going high. It's Craig Dowd looking in, number 1. Marshall, the basketball pass away. And now Burke's coming under the blowtorch. Wilson coming through. The big jump, it's tipped on the New Zealand side. Now Campo will scramble. But a knock on by New Zealand.
Well done, Jeff Wilson. Coming forward, competing for the ball.
Wait, I'm going to come through.
Midfield scrum.
The ball's not here. The ball's miles away. Just rest it. There's your mark there.
For the All Blacks, the back line is split. Mertens is out to the right. Cullen's in behind him. Little, Bunce and Lomu to the left.
Nice and high. Go on, scrum half. Scrum half. Break up. Break up.
Jim Fleming from Scotland.
Hey, Shannon, I'm watching. Hey, hand off the floor. Crouch. Crouch. Wait. Crouch. Engage.
All Blacks taking this scrum up the right-hand side to promote
That's it.
Zinzan Brook across and make it difficult.
And stay bound, stay
The
bound.
Australian blindside flanker.
Away goes Brook. And Australian players going over the top. This is not going to be a 55-metre kick. This is from just over 5 metres out, right in front of the post.
Down on top.
Well, the Wallabies have been penalised quite frequently in this match for going over the top. They are very, very committed.
You must activate
At
it quickly.
forward time.
You went down there and lay.
Must retain their feet if they're driving through rucks. Bodies go to ground, it draws an immediate penalty. This is a gift, 3 points for Mertens. Goal kicking, very high standard, 2 from 2 for Mertens. 2 out of 3 for Matthew Burke, and 2 very big goals.
Through it goes, 11 points to 9, 27 minutes gone. Australia still in the lead, but New Zealand closing the gap. Test match today for Matt Burke as he resumes the game after Mertens' penalty went through. Just a 2-point lead to Australia now. They have the wind in the first half, and there's the New Zealand captain, Sean Fitzpatrick, and they're giving him a tough time. And it's coming back for Marshall. The ball is out. Away goes Richard Toms. Here's George Gregan, the try scorer. Been left behind. Michael Jones feeds Robin Brooke, and unfortunately it went behind Brooke. He was going to pull off a stunning piece of skill by recovering it behind his back, but it was jolted away. And the first knock on was by one of the Australians.
Well, they were offside at ruck time, I have to say it. Jim Fleming said the ball was out, the ball was not out. Penalty should have been back over towards the touchline. Very dangerous situation for the All Blacks that they've managed to get out of.
Safety from Mertens.
That's a big kick.
Remember, the wind is going the other way, so that's a very big kick from the Canterbury first 5, who had a bit of a shocker last week.
And what I like about it, the spiral was there, and that shows the technique is good, the timing and rhythm is good, and that's into the breeze. It's going to be kicking further down breeze in the second half.
A bit of a conference with the Aussies there.
And with Morgan off the field, there's only really one line-out option for the Wallabies, and that's Eels, and there they go to him again.
They're a bit thin in that department, but my word, they're making the most of it. Richard Harry, one of the 2 props in the game today, originated in Victoria. Michael Bryle, very strong run by the number 8. And lost forward by Bryle.
Well, he's committed today. He's probably lucky to still be on the field. But he's very, very committed. This came from the line-out drive. The win from Eels. The forward replay showing Bryle running hard at the defence, but the ball lost forward. And once again, a dangerous situation averted for the All Blacks.
Good game, Grant. Lots of excitement.
Good game. Lots of free-flowing movement. More what we want to see. Injury to Andrew Heath. Tied head prop.
Heath and Harry in the front row for Australia today. Now there's a combination. 2 Victorian props originally in the sort of tradition of Ewan McKenzie, who came from the same school, Scots College. And here's a penalty against the All Blacks. Pushing in. Olo Brown says, please, sir.
Well, that's what Jim Fleming saw. Most referees wouldn't have a clue what goes on in the front row. Most players don't. They've got their own exclusive little club there. You have, it's for boring, it's for going in. Let's have a look if Olo Brown hits square. Well, she looks pretty square to me. Very difficult to see what that was for, though Jim Fleming has made the ruling. Boring in, and that's presented Burke with another opportunity. The way he's kicking at the moment, almost certainly another 3 points.
This to put him into the century for points in 1996 tests. Burke, he strikes it nicely, and it's away across the front. So that's an easier kick than the other 2, which were further out.
Well, Most unusual, Matthew Burke missing one like that. He's kicked 2 big ones in the match so far and presented with probably his easiest shot. Unfortunately, he doesn't land it.
Mertens kicks high. Everyone's got time to get underneath this one. Daniel Manu, the number 6 blindside flanker from Australia, the former New Zealand Colt. Now Tune another chance, although wrapped up there by Marshall, and Olo Brown gets across. And they bury Ben Tune. Well, last year when Ben Tune came into Australian rugby, a reporter here in Brisbane put his name in the story as Ben Flute. But now everyone's whistling his tune.
Well, you can play a tune with the flute, can't you, Keith?
I think so, yeah. Household name already, aged only 19. Doesn't turn 20 until December. Ian Jones, there's the drive up to the 50-metre mark. Marshall, Mertens, Walter Little, Cronfeld. That's good play by Cronfeld. Now, which way will they take it? Same way. Lomu went straight through Pat Howard. Still going the same way. Cronfeld. Wilson, the 2 Otago men. Ball is knocked on, says referee Fleming.
Cronfeld, I think it was linking with Wilson. Campese getting his hands on the ball, forcing it out of Jeff Wilson's hands.
He's got away from Richard Toms. Matt Burke breaking out, chased by Lomu. He's got it in the clear, and this is a brilliant run away for Burke. Super try. An absolutely brilliant try. You'll never see a better one than that. And it's a big day of celebrations for Australia. The game's not over, of course, but you have to celebrate a try like that.
Even more amazingly, it came off a Wallaby mistake when the All Blacks were applying pressure. Toms had got the ball up. Missed tackle, Mertens. Cronfeld also missing. Zinzan missing, and Burke is quick. And here he sets off. Christian Cullen buying the dummy. John Olomu not able to keep up with Matthew Burke, and away he goes, and that's a 70-metre runaway. Very, very good try.
He had his toes on the 22 when he got the ball, Grant. Look at this. This is a celebration of the running and passing game. Well, we know how brilliant it is. Look at George Gregan in the background. He smiled as he ran down the same track to score, and he's smiling in the background as Matt Burke did at this time. And the celebrations begin. Greg Smith is, well, I think he's quite pleased. His manager behind is Peter Falk, was quite pleased too.
Well, he's got every right to be pleased at the moment. Side and front, 16-9. Thanks largely to this man.
So that's done New Zealand with 2 brilliant tries. Burke, with over 100 points in Test rugby this year, takes the score out. Now Alan Border will be very pleased. Yep, a little pursing of the lips and a nodding of approval.
Very keen rugby man, Alan Border. Likes his footy.
And listen to the applause still ringing around the stadium for that wonderful moment from Matt Burke. But now New Zealand have to regroup. They've conceded 2 tries. They're down by 16-9. But more than that, they've taken the psychological knock of 2 brilliant scores against them. Now Sean Fitzpatrick comes under the spotlight there.
Well, ball security is important for the All Blacks. Wallabies have shown that at turnover time they want to spread the ball wide, and so in order for the All Blacks to prevent them doing that, they must maintain possession and not turn it over. That's second phase.
Okay, break up. Break up! Props up, far side, gentlemen. Move back. 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 Crouch and in. Nice and high, keep
Lomu
back,
at
keep
first
back.
5-8.
You went 10, it's a free kick, you damage.
Free kick to Australia. David Wilson pushes off Mertens. And a bit of a Mix and the touch judge in. Crowd is calling out.
Well, they can't call off. This is a high tackle. The penalty's fair, and here he comes here. Come on, you Aussie spectators, get the one eye off at the moment. If Marshall had to go, then Bryle should have been off long ago. Penalty's fair, high tackle.
So Burke, for the third time, near halfway, is going to have a shot for goal. And this would be a good one to land, because this would push them out past the 7-point mark. There's Tim Horan with the broken nose. It's a beauty, isn't it?
Lloyd Walker.
Lloyd Walker to the right. Jake Howard, that's the father of Pat Howard, the grey-haired gentleman to the right, leaning forward now. One of the technical advisors to the Australian team. Dan Crowley down the front. And so we're waiting for... Here's another look at the hit high by Marshall. Ray Mex and the touch judge right there. And Marshall, he's penalised for a hit high. That's fair enough. Crowd was baying for his blood. Here comes the tee. This is what Matt Burke was waiting for. Well, the talent spotting system of New Zealand Rugby is pretty good. Australian rugby, it's pretty good. Justin Marshall and Andrew Mertens played in an under-19 international 4 years ago against Australia, and they marked George Gregan and Pat Howard in the under-19 international. When Jonah Lomu played in the under-19s, he was a lot forward 2 years ago.
Burke up against the touchline. Very difficult kick, this one.
He's in such brilliant form. Anything could happen here. Very good kick, but not a goal. And that's the half-time break. Two brilliant tries by Australia. They have the lead by a 7-point margin. There they are. That's how they looked at halftime, the two coaches, Greg Smith and John Hart, as this Tri-Nation Series and Bledisloe Cup match resumes. Australia, two brilliant tries in the first half, lead by 16-9. Well, Grant Fox, what's got to be done by the men in black to turn that disadvantage into the lead?
Well, urgency's the key. John Hart was saying to his side at half-time, tight five, you're getting beaten around the track. In simple terms, that's why the turnovers are coming, so he asked and demanded more urgency.
The New Zealand team flies to South Africa tomorrow for probably the toughest tour of all time. 4 tests, and there's Campisi stopping Cullen. But a nice slick piece of passing, but nearly lost forward. It's a turnover early in the second half, so this malaise that is in the New Zealand play today continues, losing the first ball forward in the second half.
Well, this was a promising move. Cullen really needed to free Wilson on the right. He saw a little half gap, decided to go for it. Campisi had read it well and came in and stopped the move, but Cullen losing the ball on the tackle. That's why we have a scrum feed to Australia.
I never said engage. Stand back. Let's give a big gap, please, gentlemen. Stand back. 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 Both sides. Crouch. And it.
George Gregan, who scored the first try, number 9.
Ball was out.
The
Stay still.
Lusaka-born player, born in Zambia, came to Australia when he was 1.
Team forward. Goal ball.
Well, Regan's kick going straight up in the air, and Jeff Wilson
gentlemen,
doing the right thing. He had to compete for the ball, but unfortunately unable to control it. Australia get another chance to clear from this position.
Up, far side. Hands off.
Referee does not want the hands on the ground from the props.
He goes down the far side. The boy's trying to con me or something. Okay, back. Make that the last
props. What was conning referees?
Not at all.
Never heard of it.
Never. Not me, sir.
Hey.
One World of Sport in Brisbane.
Right, this scrum's lasted long
We
enough.
hope you're enjoying it for our overseas audience, Mnet in South Africa.
Crouch.
You'll be seeing these All Black players
That's it.
in a few days, and the Wallabies, of course. Next weekend, it's South Africa against
Stay down,
Australia,
Steve.
Tri-Nation Rugby in Bloemfontein, and then New Zealand against South Africa in Cape Town. And then the All Blacks begin a new series of 3 test matches.
Shut it. Back.
Gregan to Pat Howard. Comes nicely inside Cronfeld. Now Cullen. Well, will he try and build it up from the back? He kicks it.
Out with the 10.
Eales waiting. Collision between Eales and Burke. Communication breakdown.
Hands off, Black. Hands off.
There were hands used in there by a New Zealand player.
It's coming back on goal side. Get your hands off it.
Well, David Campese heading towards a 100th Test match. If it all goes to plan, he'll play his 100th Test match in Parma in Italy. In 2 tests from now, 99 next week in Bloemfontein, if he gets picked, of course. Richard Toms, Daniel Manu, Gregan, sharp today, George Gregan. 10-metre mark there.
Okay, back here, please. Numbers, there's no advantage. Goal ball. Out 15.
Not retiring 10 metres.
Numbers in the line out.
No, numbers in the line out.
Oh, numbers in the line out.
Australia had 2, the All Blacks had more, and that's automatically an indirect free kick.
Beyond, back.
Fleming played an advantage, but none accrued to Australia.
Just where you stand.
So forming into a little huddle. Foley, they go in now and protect the ball. Remember, these two teams met 3 weeks ago. New Zealand won then by 43-6. And there's a New Zealand player coming in on the side. Michael Jones, I think.
Number 6.
And here's a shot at goal opportunity. Let's watch this again.
There, the forward replay shows as they broke away, Michael Bryle had the ball. Let's see where Michael Jones comes from. Here's Bryle to the right of the maul. He breaks away just out of screen. It looked, yeah, perhaps Michael was in front of the last foot. And that's the reason for the penalty.
Scored the opening try in the blitz of Australia at Wellington, but all that's history. The outcome of this one is the mystery. Matthew Burke, who has been the star of the day so far. 2 long-range penalties and a brilliant try.
Moment the flags are still top of the goalpost, indicating there's probably not much wind.
So it's a good time to kick for goal. He's hit it well, and Australia now have a 10-point lead over the All Blacks. 6 minutes into the second half.
Well, it's a big advantage for the Wallabies. 10 points. Important for the side that scores first in the second half, could perhaps run away with this match. 10 points in the modern game is not very much. The All Blacks need to secure some possession and retain it.
Robin Brooker didn't go forward.
Leave it, gold, leave it, hands off it! Hands off it!
Marshall. Mertens driving this one high to test Matthew Burke. Very good on the jump. And the fair catch claim. Taps and goes. Richard Toms. Look at this.
Aussie rule style. Never took his eyes off the ball. Very good in the air is Matthew Burke.
So Jones against Eales. Robin Brooke against Heath. And still Eales got it off the Fitzpatrick throw. So there's Australia securing New Zealand possession again. Slightly different method. Same result. And now they have it to play with. Tim Gavin is number 19. Toms. That was Wilson at halfway.
The ball came forward in the tackle. The first infringement scrum. Black ball.
Ball lost forward in the tackle. All Blacks coming forward offensively. Michael Jones, Zinzan Brook into Michael Bryle.
Marshall, Cullen up. Very good tackle by Gregan. He is playing the hero's role again. Whistle again from referee Fleming. release. David Campese jogging into the picture. What a game he's having today, George Gregan. Campo to make the kick. A couple of weeks ago when they played here in Brisbane against Canada, the rugby program listed David Campese's occupation as rugby icon. Toms. Roth runs into Robinbrook. Gets away from him. 40+ metres out. Wallabies are much more urgent, aren't they? They're driving it hard. They're keen. They're hungry. Referee says play on. It's gone from Ian Jones to Zinzanbrook to Mertens. That should have been a pass. Wilson is chasing hard, but Burke should scramble this to touch. Good chase by Wilson. Good save by Burke.
How good is that?
Super play by Matt Burke. He's having a dream game.
But not so good play. Well, not such good play from Andrew Mertens. That ball needed to be moved on the hand. The kick was not the right option. The All Blacks had numbers to the right. But Burke has safely got the Wallabies out of trouble.
What a game, right against the touchline, and he bangs it about 40 metres down to this new line-out position. Still half an hour to go, a long way to go in the game. Richard Toms at the halfway mark. Joe Roth out on the full.
Well, Michael Bryle pushed, I think it was Ian Jones or Robinbrook, right out of the line out. Referee Jim Fleming needs to get in and have a look at that, because our jumpers had no show. The All Black jumpers had no show of getting up and getting the ball. They were shunted right out of the line out.
Looking right down the halfway line, Ian Jones, Marshall, Zinzanbrook. Pat Howard, a good tackle. Justin Marshall kicking straight through, and Burke lets it bounce. Well, Matt Burke used to be a soccer player for about 7 years, so he wasn't phased when that one came through at foot height. He just trapped it and then banged it 40 metres back. He's going through the whole range of his skills today.
Open at the back, come on.
Halfway line to the right. John Hart, unbeaten as the All Black coach.
Down. Wait, bigger gap, down again. Right, that's it.
Changing the call now. Zinzanbrook calling it. 2-5-8-3-5. And it goes to a hand by...
Yeah, he's got it. Finally, he's got Bryle for pushing Ian Jones, coming right across, not allowing Jones a chance to get at the ball.
Let's say a shot from here. There's the 10-metre line to the left. Further back it is than the one Burke took. Oh, it's a jungle in there, isn't it? No, they're going for position. And it's a very good thump by Andrew Mertens. So New Zealand now has the throw in here. They'll have time to compose themselves for the throw in. 10 penalty kicks to 7. Last week, touch judge Ray Mixon, when he controlled the Springboks game, whistled 37 penalties and free kicks. Eels, inspirational at line-out time. Gregan, Campese on the 22. Campo being treated with scant regard for his fine playing career.
Attacking team ball. No one really getting an advantage there. Ball had gone to ground. That option therefore goes at scrum time to the attacking team.
The last 26 consecutive points over 3 test matches for the All Blacks have been scored by Andrew Mertens. Jonah Lomu at the 22. It's gone on the Wallaby side.
First knock on against Black. First knock that came forward off Black.
It's a knock on by New Zealand.
Yellow ball.
Can you believe that, Grant? There's as many turnovers as I've seen from the All Blacks since I can't remember when.
Crouch, engage.
Well, ball control at tackle time has not been good for the All Blacks this afternoon.
Up, please.
Lomu there did have control. Let's see where the mistake came. Probably more from a Wallaby hand, I think, than
Don't try and con me.
the All Blacks actually losing the ball.
Crouch. Hey, wait! Hey, next time, back. 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 There's your mark. Crouch. Wait. Wait. Crouch. That's it. Okay. Stay. It's gone through 90. Re-scrum. Gold ball. Hey, crouch, and in. You're pushing before the ball comes in, Black. No, I'm serious. Pushing before the ball comes in. Just where you stand. I want it still.
So a command performance here from referee Jim Fleming. He's whistled that one against New Zealand, and Campese clears the touch. Mertens floats it to Marshall. Right out the centre to little number 12. To Bunce. Oh, Lomu tapped it on. This is a New Zealand team riddled with mistakes today. And Australia, with that kick, come all the way back up towards halfway.
Well, the pass was high. Lomu had to reach for it. The attacking option was on. Once again, a handling error letting the All Blacks down.
Stay back. Stay.
Richard Toms. Very good on the crash ball. A sturdy New South Wales second 5/8 wearing number 12. Now Gregan. Kicking for Tune. This is a good play. Marshall gets across. He's a spark, is Ben Tune.
Marshall again, very good in cover defence, but the Wallabies in a good attacking position inside the All Blacks 22. They have the line-out throw. They will surely look to Eels. He's really their only option available. Perhaps Manu at the back. But from here, I don't expect any frills. They'll take it down, and they'll look for the drive initially.
Well, they threw it, and it was a decoy, and it was Michael Bryle who got up. Now, he's not a long, tall string bean, but it was well timed, well executed. And look at this from the Australian pack. Gregan to Rock, left it behind. Referee's gone back. And it's a penalty against the All Blacks. Pulling it down at scrum time. Collapse maul, says referee Fleming, and the shot will come in.
Well, it's an interesting rule, that one. The rolling maul is very difficult to stop, and if you aren't allowed to bring it down, potentially there's no way to stop it. I think that's a rule, Keith, that the rule makers will need to look at. And while it's in there now, no qualms with the penalty. The All Blacks did pull that down. It's really an area of the game that needs tidying up. Matthew Burke 3 from 7. 2 of those 3 have been kicks from inside his own half. This is easiest kick this afternoon.
Crowd attendance today, 40,167. So the Australian Union justified in coming across to Suncorp, not far away from Ballymore Stadium. Burke has 14 points today. And if this kick goes over, the job for New Zealand to win will be very, very hard indeed. There it is, 22 points to 9 now, a big lead. Now the New Zealanders will be sorely tested in the last part of the game. 22-9, Australia lead. We look at the penalty kick again from Matthew Burke, spinning high and true, and through it goes for 22 points to 9 here at Suncorp Stadium. kickoff. And you see the time on the clock shows 17 minutes gone second half. And another penalty, this time against Cronfell.
Well, the Wallaby forwards have been very impressive this afternoon. Their urgency around the field has been superb. They've really hit rucks and mauls. Campese missing touch.
Zinzanbrook, a big pass to Cullen. Cullen an attacking kick, but he's sent it straight to the man of the hour. And Burke kicks to Little. To Mertens. New Zealand trying to spread it wide. Zinzanbrook, he was the one that started it with a big pass a moment ago. And they're back where he was. And now there's Toms through, but the referee. And there's Burke going back heavily, and Frank Bunce pulled him forward. I think to save his knees. But there were players offside Richard Toms.
Well, his knee was jammed underneath there. Frank Bunce. Good sportsmanship.
But Burke, you see, just away to the left is hobbling. And that was a very noble act by Frank Bunce. You see, this is Toms through on Little, but then number 15, Matt Burke, arrives, and he falls very awkwardly. You'll see this here, as the players drive forward, his knee gets caught. But there, Frank Bunce, the left jam there, Frank Bunce pulls him up because he's crying out in pain. So the Australians now have Andrew Heath down as Matt Burke will come into the picture from the left.
There's nothing wrong with Andrew Heath.
Jogging back to his position.
The old ploy, the fullback's out of position. He's injured. We don't have one back there, so one of you big fellas go down.
So we're at the three-quarter mark in the game, Grant. Anything for the press?
Well, the All Blacks have got some work to do here. 13 points adrift. That's 2 converted tries, but they haven't looked very likely this afternoon of breaching the Wallaby defence. Their best option is to go wide. Tried to go through the middle. The Australian defence has stood up to that. It's now time to look wide to the likes of Lomu and Wilson and Cullen.
Robin Brook going high. Australia playing a courageous game. They lost one of their big line-out men, Garrick Morgan. It's been a solo job in the line-out since. Here's a chance for points for New Zealand, but they've got to think about the big picture.
There's a hand on it first.
There's 20 minutes to go here. So they'll probably take the shot at goal.
That's the right option. Still enough time on the clock. 20 minutes to go for the All Blacks to get out of the difficult situation they're in.
Well, David Campese. Every second that ticks away here, it's a farewell for David Campese in Australian rugby. He's always worn the number 11 jersey. He's always jogged out onto the field last. He's brought style and brilliance and fallibility to the game in his time. Mertens. Through it goes. New Zealand have closed that gap to 22-12 at the three-quarter mark of this epic encounter at Sancorp Stadium in Brisbane. So Andrew Merton's record of consecutive points for New Zealand in this test, the previous test, and the last points in the one before that now stretches up to 29 points in a row for New Zealand. Back on the New Zealand side. Marshall.
Hands off it, ball.
Here it is for New Zealand. Justin Marshall, well wrapped up by John Eales. The captain is having a great game for Australia today. There's some great efforts coming in from Eales and Gregan and Tune, and in particular, Matthew Burke.
Well, that's a wise option, Campo. I think I would have done the same thing with Lomu bearing down on you. Take the ball safely to touch.
Down, please.
Breakdown. Robin Brook. Lineouts even. And Australia without many options. And up goes Robin Brook. Here's the view of that kick ahead. Back now with the action. possession as New Zealand begin the rumble. Pulled down again. Another penalty for New Zealand. Well, they have a shot here and this one goes over. We've got a thrilling ball game in store because that would make it a 7-point gap. Pulled down by Richard Harry, I think, is it? No, well, it's not quite.
Well, that's probably a bit rough on the Australians. A boot went in on the head of Fitzpatrick there. That's not very kind. Fitzpatrick had broken away, so Fleming was perhaps a bit rough on Australia there, but at least he's been consistent. He penalised the All Blacks a few moments ago for the same thing. This time he's penalised the Wallabies.
So this is a critical kick for New Zealand. Mertens hasn't missed one today. And we'd head towards the last quarter of an hour with just a converted try between the two teams. That's if this one goes over. Beautiful kick. More excitement coming in the last quarter as the gap is closed. Just a converted try between these two teams now. Australia 22, New Zealand 15. The test match resumes at Sancorp with New Zealand trying desperately to save the game, get the win and take the tri-series here. Back to Mertens, kicks it wide. A good chase by Cullen and Wilson to Burke, and it's in play. Walter Little, referee's whistle is gone. The Kiwi supporters in the crowd are up in arms. Ray Mixon comes into the close-up for the first time this week, but not for the first time this series.
Big gap, please.
We'll look right down the line here. If his foot touches the line, it's out. Well, the foot went over the line, but did he have the ball in his hand?
On your own, man.
Obviously cut out a bit early, we can't tell that, but Ray Mixon was there.
Ball was knocked on, we'll play the advantage.
Advantage to Australia from a knock-on at line-out time.
Listen, Teddy, knocked on through the line, Black. Scrum it, please. Goal ball.
It's another one of these turnovers.
Ball's miles away, gentlemen.
Knock-on's as good as a turnover.
Miles away. Wait.
Very courteous, these Scottish referees. Last week he was Ray Mixon there on the touch judge when he was refereeing, called the New Zealand lock Mr. Brook, and today he's calling the Pax gentleman. Richard Toms, the New Zealand-born player, who's been on such a roller coaster of emotions, being called into the Aussie team just weeks after his brother was killed in a tragic Seahawk naval accident in Australia. Cullen coming forward. Campo on the charge. Oh, tremendous collision there, and the free kick awarded to Christian Cullen. Campo is down. He fell very heavily on his upper back and shoulders.
Just winded, I think.
On the touch judge, please, for the 10. On the touch judge for the 10.
Well, we're seeing the end of this man's career. His last test match down under. And what a great man he's been for rugby. You know, he carries in his wallet a little clipping his mother gave him, a poem which is called Winners Take Chances. And he reads it before every test match, and that's how he's lived his rugby life. The kick for New Zealand here has not found touch, so that's another mistake. Burke plays it forward. Sinzanbrook waits. And that's a penalty against Craig Dowd. That is a penalty for a shepherding on the ball by number 1 for New Zealand, Craig Dowd. You might see that one better in the replay. This is a crucial kick now for the outcome of this test match.
Well, discipline is key as we head into the last quarter of the game. Here we have Cullen going high, and there's just the collision. Campo taking a hit in his upper body. The All Blacks have worked hard to get back to only a 7-point deficit. Discipline was critical. They've given away a silly penalty here, and Burke will take his time. He knows how crucial this kick is. Means the All Blacks have got to score twice, or at least get a converted try and a penalty to get back in front. It'll also take time to eat the clock up.
Nervous Australian bench. You see Garrett Morgan there with the ice on his hand.
Hands by your side, please.
Surprisingly, only a 50% record of success today for Burke. This is the one he really wants, and this is the one he's delivered. Back it is to a 10-point gap with 12 minutes to play.
Well, he hit this sweetly, head down, good follow through, just a little draw right to left, inside the right hand upright, 3 points.
The second half has been all penalties. Burke has landed 3 and Mertens 2. The halftime score was 16-9. There's Pat Howard sending one rather haphazardly to midfield. Cullen. The referee, the crowd appealing to the referee for a shepherd there as he ran around Ian Jones. Marshall, Mertens, wide to Lomu at centre. Jonah Lomu. And 3 Australians took to take him down. It's desperate stuff for New Zealand. They've got a big line up to the right. Marshall, he's got to take it round by the posts. Justin Marshall. We've got a thriller on our hands.
It's not over yet. Marshall's had an outstanding game in what a difficult circumstances. The All Black team has been making a lot of mistakes, but not this man. A good option here. He saw only Gregan was on the blind side. He took the running option, bring it round closer to the posts. Now we have at the moment a 5-point gap. Marshall again around, making the conversion easier for Mertens.
And now in the battle of halfbacks in the Bledisloe Cup this year, it's 2 tries to Marshall and 1 to Gregan. So Mertens with this kick, which will mean another try, would take New Zealand to the lead. And through it goes. He's kicked well today, Mertens. He's landed 6 out of 6. And it's 25-22 Australia lead. Justin Marshall has scored his 4th try for New Zealand this season. The tension is running high at Sancorp. 10 minutes to play, and the Australian Wallabies lead by 3. Ben Tune gets through and claims the kickoff. Tremendous work by the left winger. Out it goes to Howard. He sends it into the grey afternoon, coming down right under the H. But it's a free kick. Cullen, he's must tap and go. Gets it away to Mertens for the safety. And Roth has played that one. He's got to run it out now. He's touched his fingers. Joe Roth with Burke with him. The big Canberra player thumps New Zealand back so that at least they're in their own half of the field. Zinzanbrook covering it. What a thriller this has turned out to be. I know which of the 2 teams has played better rugby, but the team in black has hung tenaciously in there to close the game right up. Now Matt Burke bringing it forward with Tune with it. Bounces it to Fitzpatrick, the New Zealand captain. Marshall knows there's no one at home. Campo comes across though in cover. And Campo with a left foot kick, and that's not a bad one either from the veteran. Zinzanbrook charged across and took it off the ball boy before he could get his hands on it, and a quick throw in has gone to Lomu. A tremendous tackle by Bomber Wilson. Walter Little. This reminds us of Sydney in 1994. by Robin Brook. Marshall, Little, Cullen.
Well, there's some real tension out there now. Both sides desperate for the victory. Great passage of play. Walter Little involved a couple of times. 3 Wallaby defenders there desperately trying to shut down Cullen's space.
We look again at Sean Fitzpatrick charging forward, and there's a bit of a call here for a head high. This one, well, Tim Gavin it was, and he really buried his forearm onto Fitzpatrick, but not called by the touch judges or the referees. And there's a nice little touch, a pat on the head by Fitzpatrick to the man who brought him down.
Robin Brook down injured at that second phase. But he's up and back in the action again.
Blair Larson was seen warming up. Remember, we're watching the test match hanging in a balance. Ken McCartney on the field again. And they're discussing who's going to get the throw in. Fitzpatrick had the ball. Thrown by Foley. Claimed by Eales. Wilson. Cregan. Australia know if they want to make this game secure, they need points too. Jeff Wilson. That's a penalty for New Zealand right by the touchline. They won't go for the shot. What do you think, Grant? Do you think they should go for the shot?
They should go for the shot. This is within Mertens' range. Still 7 minutes on the clock. There's enough time if he's unsuccessful still to pull this game out of the fire.
Let's look at the kick again on the replay. Wilson coming across. Manu is penalised because he tackled while the player was in the air. So you see how close it is to the touchline. And the penalty for the dangerous tackle. Now, Andrew Mertens has not missed a kick at goal today. But this one...
Well, this is his most difficult.
Yep.
He's hit him sweetly all afternoon. But there'll be some tension within him now. He's a very cool customer. Deals with pressure very well, I feel, but he will have a few jitters at the moment.
17 points today. He sends it towards the posts. It's just in front. Campo's going to run it out. And now he bangs it, the great man. Sinzan Brook by the touchline. Mertens is trying to recover. Sinzan Brook. Deep kick. Oh, last look at the skills of David Campese on a rugby field of Australia. He bounced that one off his fingertips and sent New Zealand back from whence they came, as he's done in every one of his 29 tests against the All Blacks. Five minutes to play. New Zealand in possession. Robin Brook.
Hands off, ball! Hands off!
Frank Bunce. Tenacious tackle there by Joe Rock.
Hands off it!
And now this is one at the halfway line that's going to have them holding their breath on both sides of the Tasman Sea.
You went to deck.
Well, I tell you what, David Wilson, speaking to the referee there, I wouldn't do that too often. He might march him up 10 metres, which could be crucial. So, Grant, if we have a drawn match...
Back on the 10.
That's 2 points to each team. New Zealand would go to 11.
That's fine.
Australia would go to 6. South Africa would stay on 2. So, the Tri-Nation Series would still be wide open.
Would be. The Wallabies would be out of it.
South Africa could win it if they scored bonus points from the last 2 games. But
well, they need to win. They need to win both their games against Australia and New Zealand and South Africa with bonus points.
That's if this kick goes over. The Cauldron is the name of the ground. The kick by Mertens
Nailed it.
is a great one. It's 25 all. This is unbelievable.
Great kick, Andrew Mertens. The All Blacks were dead and gone, and they haven't been the best side on the field this afternoon, but they have hung in there. 25 all. Discipline now is absolutely vital.
Just under 4 minutes to play. At the moment it stands as the highest equal drawn test match in rugby history. And Mertens has set a record for penalties between New Zealand and Australia with his 6th there. Pressure in on referee Fleming.
Shut it. The law changed this year. It's not from a kick-off. Not from a kick-off.
Well, that's interesting. What's that one about?
Well, last year, if you took a kick, even from the kick-off and couldn't free it, you still retained the ball. Not this year. From the kick-off, if you held up, it goes to the opposition.
Referee Fleming pointed out the little print on page 27 of the law book had changed this year. But it's a crucial turnover because it gives the Wallabies the put in. It's down at the front row. Remember, Australia have a super goal kicker too. If there's a penalty at scrum time.
Hey, shut it. Crouch. Give it up.
Australia led by 22-9 at one stage. And by 25-15. Howard caught by Kronfeld. Wilson is there. 22 metres line. Campo with the drop goal. Just wide.
He had to get in the game.
Tremendous option. Their idea was right.
Idea was perfect. We got the All Blacks must kick deep here. There is no point kicking short. Mertens must go long, and he is.
Bit of the Rugby League thinking there on this great Rugby League ground where they have the State of Origin matches. And New Zealand has driven it back from the 22 to Tew. Lomu blocks him out. Seconds are ticking away. Hart, the New Zealand coach.
No frills here. He's chewing on his pen. He's probably got no nails left. No frills here. Mertens must stick the ball in the air. And he should look to the box.
The box is the little place behind the winged on the far touchline.
Perhaps he's setting up for the drop kick.
He's running it on the loop. Mertens through. Oh! Cullen falls over. Bunce drives on. The try is scored. The All Blacks have burgled this game off the Australians. Frank Bunce tried. John Hart delighted. The first try series is going to go to New Zealand. They've snatched it. They've sneaked it. But they've won it.
I said he must go to the air, so he runs it. And look what happens. They score.
Look at the sign in the background. All Blacks do it again.
The double round. Bunce back to Mertens into the hole, and he's got speed.
Is this his first run of the season? I think it is.
He hasn't had many opportunities. Cullen, I thought he was going to go though. Look at that man Gregan again in cover. Placed the ball. Bunce was supporting. Joe, I think Kronfeld was there, drives Bunce over. There we have it. Mertens, the dummy cut with Little, looping around Bunce into the hole. Here goes Cullen. I thought Cullen was going to score here, but Gregan had cut him off, losing his footing, but keeping his head, placing the ball in the tackle. Frank Bunce on hand to score. Time's up on the clock.
Desperate looks among the Wallabies, who are going to be beaten today. This young man played a tremendous role, and he puts the little full stop on it, crosses the I's, dots the T's. The game is over. New Zealand have taken the first try series by 32 to 25. They keep the Bledisloe Cup. The parties begin. But that was a game that really pumped the pulses, and Australia can be very, very disappointed.